Thanks for tuning in to the Mo Better Radio. We are your favorite radio hosts.
I'm DJ Mo Better.
And I'm your boy T-Shine.
And today we have a very special show. We have a few cancer survivors that are coming in to share their story. And we also have a caregiver that is coming in to share her side of the story. So today, I'm hoping you can receive and take from this interview from today.
Yes, 1 in 8 women are diagnosed with breast cancer per day. Breast cancer is the most commonly diagnosed disease in women. Although it is rare in men, there are 2,600 men that are diagnosed per year. So fellas, you are not exempt. Know your body. Check yourself.
Please check yourself.
Yes.
It's for your health.
Oh, yeah.
Be here for your kids.
Yes. So check out the show. It's going to be a great one.
Well, today we have very, very special guests in the new studio, as y'all see. We done upgraded it. This is a very special interview today.
Yes.
I am privileged to have cancer survivors, those who have been through it. And we're going to sit and hear their story. Could you guys introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Patricia Eaton.
I'm Angela Rosser.
And I'm Maddie Kinney.
And these are your survivors, ones who's been through it and who are here to guide you through it.
Yes.
What was the acronym again before we started?
Maddie, Angela, Pat, MAP.
MAP. They're going to give you the map.
To survival.
To survival.
Yes.
We're going to start off with our first question. When were you first diagnosed and what age?
I was diagnosed May 2007 at age 57.
Wow. Angela?
I was diagnosed September 30th, 2010, and I was 48.
Wow.
And I know you had a sister, right?
I did.
When was she diagnosed and what age?
My sister was originally diagnosed in 2005, and she passed away at 41. Yes.
Wow. Now, during that process and everything, and when you told your family you were diagnosed with breast cancer, how did they react?
Well, I was numb. And when I told them, let me just back up. They were not at home when I was given the diagnosis. My family, very small, was away on a vacation, father and son vacation, when I got my diagnosis. And I must say, when I was sitting in the surgeon's office, and when he told me your tumor was malignant, I looked at him, I said, well, and then he didn't say nothing. I said, well, how am I supposed to feel? He said, well, how do you feel? I said, I don't feel anything. He said, well, maybe that's the way you're supposed to feel.
Wow.
Then when I got home, I sat down to try and think about how I was going to bring myself together to tell these men who was just so into me.
Yeah.
Right.
And how they were going to be able to continue to walk and support me when they were really going to take it, and I was thinking they were going to take it hard. But as I was sitting there, co-anchor Robin Roberts came across the TV telling us about her diagnosis. That gave me power.
Okay.
I said, now if she can tell the world, I know I can tell 2 people or the people that I need to tell. So when they returned the very next day, I shared with them. They were just as numb as I was. Nothing was said. But I did tell them that I will be transparent. You don't have to worry about me. Whatever I know, you're going to know. So continuously walk in and living your life the way you are. But know that God got this.
Come on now.
Amen.
Come on.
Amen.
It's
Amen.
bigger than you.
Yes.
That's good. Man.
That's hot.
So, were they? How supportive were they as far as in this whole thing with you?
If I would ask them, they would think that they were, but I think they were withdrawn because they just didn't know. And that I have learned later in life that they just didn't know. So I didn't fault them. But now they can talk about it and know that, as they say, touched by an angel.
Come on now.
Now, Patricia, this is your sister, Miss Barbara Goffney. She's an awesome woman of God. When you first heard about her diagnosis, how did you feel?
Well, it was different. When I say we, my entire family, we received a call one day, and she told us, I need all of you to come over to my house. We're like, okay, what's going on? She said, just come over to the house. And we all went over to the house, and we sat down in the den, and she took a long sigh, and we looked at her, because we didn't know what we were about to hear. Okay. And that's when she told us that she had got a report that she had cancer. And two, we also went numb. We're like, okay, what did you say? Mm-hmm. You know, it's shocking to hear, you know, because the last thing you don't want to hear is a family member that has cancer. Right. And so we were all kind of numb, and we didn't say anything. And I think each one of us, after we sat there for about 30 minutes, we each got up and we went to our own separate homes. And just to sit and just keep hearing those words over and over, I have cancer. I have cancer, you know, and not knowing really what to say. Right. You don't know what to say at that time. Yeah. Because it's a loved one. Right. So it was a little hard to hear that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And how did your family take it?
Well, it's my family dynamic is slightly different. I'm a single parent, no grandparents, no parents, and just a million cousins, and they're scattered all over the country. So my situation is slightly different than hers and Barbara's, is though I found my own lump through one of my good friends, Kim Hayes, who's an oncology nurse. She was a nurse at John B. Amos at the time, and she switched then to diabetes. But she brought to our church an array of breast, you know, the fake breast, where everybody was given a breast to look at and to feel to find a lump, just like you would do your normal breast examinations. Right. And the lump that I had in my little breast was the same thing I felt here, and it was maybe pea size or half of a pea. Now, that was in the early part of 2010. So, sometimes it's who you know. So, by her being a nurse, she got me in Monday to a doctor. Saw Dr. Pippis. No, I'm sorry. Let me back that up. I saw my doctor. I will not give her name. Mm-hmm. She kept saying it was fibrocystic. Okay. Every 3 months, regular schedule for a mammogram. I had a schedule for an ultrasound. Okay. She kept saying that it was fibrocystic. 6 months passed. This is growing. Now it's slightly painful. So she's saying, no, it is still fibrocystic. And we sent out the results to the radiologist. They look at it, fibrocystic. Then my question was, okay, if it is painful, there must be something. Mm-hmm. And to my ignorance at the time, I did not ask for a second opinion, nor did I ask or insist on a biopsy, which people should do. So we're 6 months, 9 months down the road. This thing is growing, and it is now red. Mm-hmm. It's aggressive. Mm. So I'll go in for my normal checkup, trusting that this doctor knows what she's talking about. She was out of the office, emergency. I saw her PA. The PA said, and she knows me, she said, well, let's look at it. Let me get another radiologist to look at the results. Mm-hmm. 2 days later, she called me, and she was in tears, apologetic, but in tears. She said, we probably could have caught this earlier. Wow. It is now stage 3. Wow. So, me with my faith, okay, so what are we going to do? Yeah. She said, well, we'll get you in. I mean, I didn't have time. Stage 3, I didn't have time to play. So we went over, got an appointment with she set me with Dr. Scarborough, who was a surgeon, cancer surgeon. Y'all may know him. Very nice man. He did the biopsy that same day, and he was so funny. I'm full of hair. Normally I keep my hair cut short. I had hair everywhere because I decided that me and my children made a bet. Who's gonna let the hair grow?
Okay.
So I won the bet. Nonetheless, my hair was down here.
Okay.
And he told me, well, sweetheart, he's just playing in my hair. He said, I'm sorry, this is cancer. This is stage 3. We got to do something. He called Dr. Pippis. I got in, and we're talking, it is October at this point, the end of October. And he was going to start me on a trial. I still didn't have time to cry, get numb, get scared. I immediately told my 2 children. My son was away in school at Troy. My daughter was 13 or 14 at the time. And she had to grow up quick because it was just us.
Yeah. Okay.
So went through the procedures, got the biopsy. Nonetheless, I started chemo November the 3rd.
Okay, now you spoke about chemo.
Yes.
Explain to me how chemo felt, because people without cancer doesn't know how it feels.
I got stories for you on chemo. Now, I said earlier that I have a ton of cousins. So when my cousins found out that I had cancer, I was in Dr. Pippis's office waiting for my first appointment, and they were like, she sounds funny. They got in the car from Manchester and got down here. Probably 20 minutes. 2 of them, old ladies riding side by side. And when they told me I had to have chemo, they gave me explicit instructions. I had to go get a port put in, and if you don't know what a port is, it's surgically implanted device where the needles go into. So that is always in your body the whole time. Yeah, it's like a chip, but it's where they insert the needles and the intravenous information or documents. But nonetheless, they hook you, they sit you in this very comfortable chair. You got a TV, you got a room, and you have your own space. And if you've ever seen IV go into a body, imagine that 20 times.
Jeez.
So when I started on my chemo, I started on Taxol and carplatin, if I'm pronouncing that right. I had 2 at the same time. So you got bags hanging. You got your pre-medication bags, which includes Tylenol, for pain, Benadryl for pain and itching and infection, and a few other things to cleanse you. And then when they hang the bags for your chemo, you don't really feel it, but they have, and in John B. Amos, I just love that place because everything is so intricate. The first instruction they gave me is to relax, and they told me what I was going to expect over time. So those 2 chemos that I had, one of them would be the one that would remove your hair. I'll get to that in a minute because that's a big myth with non-cancer survivors. But the chemo goes in, and everything is so calibrated that the first thing they told me is if you feel anything different, let us know. Now, the beauty of it is the first thing I felt was, if I'm a singer like you all are, so you get an itch in your throat at any given time where you go,
Yeah.
That was the thing they were looking for. And they said, if you get a tickle in your throat or in your ear, let us know. And I'm thinking, okay, so if I need to sneeze, I need to let somebody know. So my cousins were sitting away because they can't stand needles. They don't want to watch it. So that they started to pump. I get this little bitty, minute tickle. And I sat there and my cousin was like, did she just do something? They were nervous. Okay. And as soon as I did that, she raised her hand, and there was a convergence of nurses. And when I say they jumped on me and they recalibrated everything, it was an emergency situation. I could have died right there with the first drop of chemo. That's how serious it was. But you don't think about that. But the transfusion room was on one level. My doctor was on the 3rd floor. They said he jumped stairs to get to my table, to get to me, to get everything calibrated. And as soon as they tweaked everything, it was smooth sailing.
And can you tell us about your experience?
I have Dr. John Bassett, and I
Okay.
always say the best. I too had the same chemo that Angela had, but I had a little different response to it.
Okay.
Being the person I am, I looked at laying down like you're giving blood, and I know I couldn't take that. So what I asked for was a tour.
Okay.
That was the best thing that anybody could ask for, a tour of the infusion lab. I saw people in there in three-piece suits. I saw people there laughing and talking and eating and everything else. So that built me up
Okay.
as that I can step in with a positive attitude. I had those same chemos, and I was told that your hair is going to fall out, but guess what? It's going to come back. And it may come back curly, it may come back a different color. And I said, you know what? I hope mine come back pink. And we laughed it off. But my principal had just retired a few months before, and she says, you know what? I will go with you. I will be your other pair of ears. She went to every chemo treatment with me. She was my other pair of ears. Really, she acted as though she was getting it because she was on the internet finding out information that I could ask. I had so many family members that, it was really just like you was going to a little private party, if you will. But I do remember the Taxotere, the red devil. The one thing the nurse told me to look out for is if you feel hot, that it's going through too fast.
Okay.
I experienced that one time, and all I had to say was, I'm burning. And just as you say, here they come.
Wow.
They recalibrated that, although she was the only one doing it, and I know she got tired. And I would tell her every minute, I appreciate you. Because, standing there pushing it, and you don't know if I'm pushing enough or am I pushing too much.
Yeah.
It's only what the person tell you. And they were so in tune to you.
Yes.
Whatever we told them, they were there to do. They made my chemo treatments very bearable because I felt that I had the people that God has strategically placed there for me.
Okay.
It wasn't the ones I was looking for or the ones you wish to be on the journey with you.
Right.
There were people that I didn't know, but I didn't feel like I didn't know them because, as I said earlier, I gave this thing to God because it was bigger than me.
Yeah.
And He strategically placed all these people on this journey with me. I received them,
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
and we went through that.
Now, does cancer run in you all's family? Like, do you know anyone in your family before you that had breast cancer or any type of cancer?
Let me say this. That was the one thing that I said, okay, here I am, Lord, 57 years old. I've just had all of this going on, and I said, there's nobody in my family. I have 3 other sisters. I have a mother and a grandmother. We all lived under the same roof apart.
Okay.
Why do I have to be the one to go through this?
Mm,
And I
gotta
started
ask.
researching back to see nobody had had it.
Wow.
I was the first.
Wow.
So was I.
So
Really?
I said, okay, God, this is some special then. I'm special to you. I'm more special than they are. I took a positive attitude with it all.
Yeah.
That's a great way.
And
to-
I would say, I never stopped doing what I was doing.
Yeah.
I always told my family, when they would say, well, sit down, slow down, you're doing too much, you're going too, you don't feel bad? I never felt bad. I tried to one time because they told me that I needed to feel bad on the
Yes.
3rd day.
Yes.
I
Okay.
tried to feel sick. But I tried to lay there, and I said, no, this is not true. Maybe this stuff not working because I didn't feel sick.
Uh-huh.
But I remember that I'd given it to God, and I was just going to walk in the order He had for me. So, with that being said, as Angela said, I was never scared. I was never fearful. I was never sad. I didn't think about crying. I don't remember shedding tears.
Wow.
I just remember doing what I was doing. I went to work every day. I went to infusion in the morning. I went to work that evening. Or I went to work that morning. I went to infusion that morning, went to work in the evening, vice versa.
Yeah.
And I just said to them, death, if it's going to find me, it would not find me sitting on the sofa.
Waiting.
Right. Changing channels on the TV.
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to catch me mobile. And it's
Right.
going to really have to have some speed
Yeah.
in order to catch me.
That's
Got
right.
your
That's
Nikes
right.
on.
Love it.
Got
And
my
pink
Nikes on.
Nikes at
Pink
that.
Nikes
Yes. She stole my answer.
That's
That's
what's
all I got to say. But banking on what she just said, I mean, looking back, nobody in my family ever that I can tell you had breast cancer. Now, my father, being an old factory worker, worked in asbestos. He drank and smoked, and he had lung cancer. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't party. I'm not around people with secondhand smoke. So I was just dumbfounded. Right. And when it happened, I said, okay. And when I found out, now at my church, if I may do a shameless plug, Friendship Baptist Church.
Okay.
Amen. I am a mimer. I sing in all the choirs. I used to be on the dance team, but I decided I was doing a little bit too much. So when I found out, I told my church, we have this thing during the middle of service called praise reports and prayer requests.
Okay.
So it was our church anniversary, as a matter of fact. I got up. I had the port in. Nobody knew I had the port. And I got up, and we had just mimed. And if you mime, you know that's tiring.
Yes.
Miming and running and moving around. Then you got to go take your makeup back off and change clothes and run, get back in the choir stand. And then at that point, as soon as I got in the choir stand, our pianist was playing a song that I lead. And so I got the microphone and ran down and started singing the song. So I'm like, I got a praise report. And they were like, okay, take your time, get your breath. And I said, I have instructions. I want everybody in here to listen carefully. Nobody is to say, oh my God, I'm sorry, no tears. I will not take any of that. When I finish what I have to say, should be somebody in here shouting. Right. And then I began to say, I was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And then the whole audience got quiet. I said, I gave instructions, let's go back. Right. I gave instructions. I need to hear some hallelujahs, praise the Lord, because I'm already healed.
Yes.
That's the bottom line.
That's
now,
right.
we as believers, we already know this.
Right. Yes.
So let's not play with the God I serve.
Right.
Now, with that said, I have to do this, this, and this. So if you don't see me, or if you see me with no hair, if you see me frail or smaller than I am, we were told that radiation is going to do this, chemo is going to do this. So I'm preparing my church family. Did not know that I was talking to somebody that had not been diagnosed yet. Wow. And that's hot. Yeah. And I told my pastor in the church that I don't know why I was chosen. Just like you said, you were special. My statement was, I was chosen so I can save somebody else. That's right. Because you can take the long route to do things, like your parents teach you how to drive. You want to drive all fast with the radio all loud and have a wreck, or do it the way I taught you to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And then
right.
I can save you from trouble. So with that said, I have always said, and you are a witness, that I went through it so somebody else didn't have to go through all of it, or you would know what to expect. And then I can show you, it's like, let your light shine before men.
Yes.
Versus, I'm going to whine, oh my God, I got cancer, what am I going to do? We haven't got time for that.
Right.
We got things to do. We don't pity parties that last 5 seconds, and you invite one person, yourself. Don't invite nobody else. And then you leave the party.
Okay.
Leave the party where it is. That's just the way it works. We share the same story, and it's amazing how many people share the same story, but you'll be amazed more so how many people with the shame, nobody knows that they're sick. So they're suffering in silence, all alone, keeping this, it's the C word. I know you've heard that before. Back in the day, they would say, wouldn't even say the word cancer. No. It's the C word.
Wow.
Out of shame.
I
You
never
never
knew
heard that.
that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they call it the C word, or the big C.
We do have the same story.
Yeah, yes,
Look.
the big C. Yeah.
Because my mother was a nurse. And as you said, big C or just C. And it was because cancer was a death sentence back then.
Yes.
And a stigma.
Wow.
And you didn't want anybody to know you had it, because the next thing they're doing is planning your funeral.
Exactly.
They don't want to talk about it.
And Pat, speaking from a caregiver
Yes.
on the other side of like all of that, can you tell us your experience as far as with your sister?
it started out not really knowing what to expect. And I remember saying to God one day, you know, Father, she chose me to take care of her and to be her caregiver. And I said, now, all I ask is that you give me the strength that I need to care for my sister, to take her where she needs to go, just to be that ear for her, because sometimes all she wanted to do was talk. Sometimes she would just call me on the phone and say, Pat, I just want you to pray. Or sometimes she needed me to come over there and just rub her legs or just rub her body. You know, so I said, God, give me the strength. And I had a lot of sleepless nights, A lot of times she would call me at 11 o'clock at night. There we are, headed down the road going to Noonan. No sleep. I would get up, go pick her up, take her to Noonan, stay up there with her all day for her to get checked. We would drive back to Columbus. I would drop her off, and then I would try to go to work and try to be productive. And I did this continuously over and over, but I always asked God, give me strength, God.
Yes.
Because she chose me, and I want to do the best that I can and take care of her in a way that would be pleasing to you. And so that's what I done. And, you know, and I listened to the ladies when they talked about that they didn't really have anyone in their family with cancer. Well, my mother did. She had breast cancer. Her mother had cancer, and my mother's brothers had cancer. So cancer was in the family. Yeah. But it's still a word that you don't want to hear.
Yeah.
And it's still, even now, you know, I talk about it, but a lot of people don't talk about it. And it's, if I didn't have the support that I did as a caregiver, I would have cracked. Because being a caregiver is a big responsibility. And it's like I was willing to put myself on the back burner. Now, don't get me wrong, I had people that were encouraging me and that were talking to me. I had people that were ministering to me to keep me going.
Yes.
And every now and then as a caregiver, sometimes you have to step back and you have to take a breather so that you can continue to do what you need to do.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So,
Now, we all love music in here, I'm sure.
We do.
I love music. What song kept you all motivated during those times?
Well, you all are too young to know what the Truth That sing. You know the Truth That? You never heard of them, right?
You can go ahead and give us a little sample.
Give us a little sample.
I
Give
don't
us
want
a
no peanut butter and jelly.
no, I heard
Yeah, I
that.
heard that.
That's cute. No.
But not that song. The song that kept me going with them is that God is always by my side.
Yeah.
Whatever I need, I just pray, and I know that he will make a way. And I did just that. They were from Mississippi. That's my home.
Okay,
So that's
yeah.
probably why you all don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
They were girls. They were children. They were not adults at the time. They were singing.
Okay.
We need to talk.
That's one of my songs. One of my
That's
songs.
one of your songs.
But the other song is, you thought I was worth saving.
Yeah.
You thought I was to die for. You thought all of these things.
Yeah.
So you saved me, and that's my right now song. And every
Okay.
chance I can get, the Mo Better. When I said sing it, you just break off singing.
Yeah.
Because that is my now worth. You worth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
If people
thought I was
only knew
worth
that.
it.
Yeah.
What was your song?
At the time, my song was "Stand" by Donna McClurkin.
Okay.
Love that
Okay.
too.
I had to hear that between Stan and watching Bugs Bunny. I was good to go. But
Pat?
I would have to say by Vicky Yohe, Because of Who You Are.
yes, that's all that's yes.
You gonna go deep on the time.
That's real deep right there. That's personal right there.
That's what that is.
But I listened to it all the time, and I would sing it all the time in the bathroom. I said, it's because of who you are that's why I had the strength to do what I did for my sister. And to hold a lot of stuff in, and to sit and see my sister in pain, and to see her crying, and just so much, you know, as a caregiver that you see, and you have to try to digest all of this. And so when I would leave from her, I would just begin to sing that song in the car. And I would sing it sometimes when I'm taking her there, because when you're traveling up and down the road, come on, it takes money too.
Yes,
So I
yes.
said, because of who you are, I had to keep singing that, just to keep my mind in a
Yeah.
place.
I love
did.
it. I love it.
So
Yes.
That's your right now song too.
that's my right now song.
Yeah.
That's a forever song.
Yes.
Yeah, it's forever.
I think everybody can relate to that song right
Yes.
there.
I
Very
love that
powerful
song.
song.
Really powerful.
Everything.
And may I
Yeah.
add this? While God was preparing you with Barbara to be that caregiver, those of you that are young don't know my story from when I told it in 2007. But Patricia was the one there with me when I got my port.
Oh, wow.
Patricia can look at me. Patricia can touch me, and that is my motivation. We have a special. She's very special to me.
Wow.
And I always, every time I have to, because she is just like she said in the song, because of who you are. She let that flow through her relationships with me and others.
Wow.
And she was prepared for that through her sister, who was 2 years before me.
Wow. That's awesome.
Trudging along down this lonely road. The stakes are high, but I keep pressing on. They've been after me, trying to take my life. I'm only alive 'cause 1:30 and 5. My hope. 'Cause I'm counting on you, I ain't counting on them, no. I put my hope in you, Lord. I know you say what you do, I won't believe what I see, I'm gonna believe what you said. 'Cause I put my hope in you, Lord. I know you say what you do, true. Times are hard, but I keep pushing to make it through. I know it's the way that gets me, but I'ma keep trusting you. And though my flesh cries murder, I'ma let it die. 'Cause this here's the fight of my life, standing on 1:30 and 5. My hope.